Are you stuck in the daily routine of your life? Does it seem like the weight of what you have to do weighs you down so much that you're not able to expand, that you're not able to find the good, the positive light that you want in your life? If so, this is going to be the episode for you, because we're going to talk about how to move forward and not let your routine, your life, the negative energy that's been holding you back stop you anymore, so that you can move forward into your positive future. My name is Henry, and welcome to the Positive Mindset Podcast, where we come together to raise our vibration, lift our perspective, and build a positive mindset. I'm so thankful to have each and every one of you here with me today. This is going to be a great episode, and before we get started, we're going to take a few moments to slow down, zero in. We're going to take some deep, healing, meditative breaths to help us align on the frequency that we want in our lives. So you can pick a word. It can be love, joy, happiness, abundance, whatever frequency you want. And we're going to take a deep breath in, and as you're breathing in, you're going to say that word over and over and over again. Really charge yourself up with that energy. And then as you're holding your breath, visualize yourself doing something in that frequency. And once you exhale, anything that no longer resonates with you will leave you, and you'll be in a more positive state. So let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. And out. We're going to take another deep breath. This one is about alignment, about getting ourselves in receiving mode so that we can receive the message that we need to hear to get us in that positive perspective. So just imagine that you are surrounded by the most healing, uplifting energy that's meant specifically for you. It could have a certain color, a certain taste, a certain smell, however you imagine it. And when you breathe it in, it's going to charge you up. It's going to break down the negativity, the blocks, the weight, everything that's just been holding you back. And once you exhale, anything that no longer resonates with you will leave you, and you'll be in a more positive state. So let's go ahead and take another deep breath in. And out. So to start this message off, there's something I want to say, and just listen to this and really think about how it resonates with you. There's what you have to do, and then there's what you get to do. You can't let what you have to do stop you from what you get to do. Now there's a few layers to this. You see, in a high enough perspective, you'd recognize everything in your life is something that you get to do. Because everything in your life, every interaction, every experience, every encounter is for you. It's for you to have internal growth. When I say that there's things that we have to do, that's when we think about the regular life. We think about the structure of the society that we live in. We have to have money to have a house. We have to have money to have food. We have to work to have money. We have to do these certain things that we call have to. So many of us, because there are things we have to do, get stuck only doing the have tos and not realizing that everything is a get to. But if you can't make yourself do the get tos that lift you up, how are you going to even look at the have tos to raise your frequency? You see, everything is happening for you. The difficulty that you find yourself in, the struggle, the negativity, yes, you may have to go to that job. But when you raise your perspective up enough, you recognize that you get to go to that job because you get to learn from everything. There is not a single thing that exists that can happen that you can't learn from, that you can't reflect deep enough to find meaning and find value in your inner growth. So if you want more, if you want to tap into a higher frequency, if you want to find love, if you want to expand, if you want to live a life that's different than the one you're living, you have to have more get-tos. You can start by turning what you have to do into get-tos, but you also need to prioritize what you get to do, meaning the things that light you up, the things that make you happy. reading the books, talking about certain subjects, being around certain people, living a specific life. You get to do anything that you decide to do. It's possible. Everything exists at once. I know I've said this before, and I hope that it's something that's resonating with you, but everything is existing at once. The path to your life that you desire is available now. The only reason you can't see it is because your frequency is stuck in what you have to do, meaning you have to go to that job that doesn't pay you enough. You have to drive that car that you don't truly want. You have to have the house that isn't most satisfying because you've lived a life without recognizing your true power, without recognizing that everything is frequency and what you have is what resonates with you. You cannot hang out with somebody that doesn't flow with you. If you're around somebody that has different jokes than you, different personality, different ideas, don't get up at the same time, don't want to do the same things, they're that different, you're not going to enjoy them. It's going to be hard to be around that person because they operate on different frequency than you. It's not about good, it's not about bad, it's not about right, it's not about wrong. It's a different frequency. You have met somebody like that. You have been around somebody that you just didn't gel with. They weren't a bad person. They weren't evil, at least hopefully. They were just different vibrationally. So if there can be someone else that's different vibrationally, that means everything has vibration. And if everything has vibration, we only resonate with equal vibration. There is no truly seeing things, it's just perceiving things. And if you can understand that, and I'll say it again, there is no seeing things, there's only perceiving things. Two people can see the same thing but perceive something different. One person sees an obstacle, the other sees an opportunity. One person sees difficulty, the other one sees growth. One person sees destruction, another person sees the ashes which they could rebuild something powerful. Your perspective is what matters. Your frequency is what matters. So let's go back to how we started this. There's what you have to do, and then there's what you get to do. Is it starting to make sense? You see, if you're still living in the truth that you have to do things, that's the frequency you're in. It's lower. It's you have to do this to make this your reality. When you can get into the frequency that you get to do things and everything's for you and you get to do what it is that you desire, that's a different frequency. That's a different perspective. That's seeing things in a different way. If you get to go to that job that stinks, that's got terrible people there, the coworkers stink, the customers are hard to deal with, it's just a terrible experience. If you can start seeing that as not something that you have to do, but as something that you get to do, because when you go there, there's tension. In that tension, you practice gratitude. In that tension, you visualize your vision. Because through all the distractions, when you can be still within, you're growing. You see it as something that you get to. Your perspective is powerful. Your perspective is reflective to the frequency that you're in. You're not going to have a high perspective if you're operating from a low frequency. And you're probably not going to have a low perspective when you're operating at a high frequency. So look at your life. Do you see your life full of things that you have to do? Or do you see it as a life full of things that you get to do? It's that simple. Your perception is it. In fact, I would even say this. Your perception is your reception. Meaning, what you perceive, you receive. And I know these words rhyme, and sometimes that's a little bit silly, but they have to stick with you. They have to resonate with you. You have to make the change if you want something different. Nobody else is going to do it for you. That's not the way this world is made. There are people that can live as the example so that you can see the path. There are people that do things to try to shed light so that you can look and see and then make the decision yourself. But nobody can do it for you, because if they do it for you, you don't get the healing. If they do it for you, you don't get the growth. If they do it for you, you don't get the fulfillment, the worth. It's all happening for you. Now again, do you look back at your life and see a bunch of have-tos or get-tos? Turn it into get-tos when you can look at everything, the good, the bad, the difficulty, the hard, the painful, the tragic, the trauma, all of it, and see it as stuff you got to do versus stuff you had to do. You've leveled up. Even if it doesn't feel real at first. Somebody that looks at their life and says, man, I get to do this. I get to go to work. It's a tough job, but I practice my meditation. I know I'm not going to be there forever. I'm learning so much because when I create my business, I'm going to make it different. I'm so thankful for this. I'm so thankful that I get to do this for now because what's to come is going to be so powerful. Somebody that looks at their life like that is in a positive mindset. Somebody that looks at their life like that is in their power, is in their creative energy. They are observing the same thing that you might be observing, but they're observing it in a different way. They're observing it in a way that uplifts them versus if you see it as something you have to do, you're observing it as something that takes away from you. The power is yours. No longer be the person that has to do things. Be the person that gets to do things and become the rising tide that lifts all ships. Well, thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode was impactful and gave you a positive perspective on whatever it is that you're going through. If you want to make sure you don't miss a single episode, make sure you subscribe to my email list. There's a link down below. It will keep you up to date with every single episode. And if you want to follow me on social media, there's my Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook group all down below. I appreciate everybody that has followed me there. And if you listen to this episode and you're thinking to yourself that now's the time for you, you want to make a shift. You want to be somebody that sees the world as opportunities, that sees things that they get to do and get out of that negative energy of seeing stuff as what you have to do. If you're interested in that, my one-on-one coaching program is exactly about that. We build the vision, we align the mindset, we build the daily habits and steps that you can put into place so that you become the version of you that will receive what it is that you desire so that you can perceive the high frequency. Also, if you're someone that's an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner or operator, my Zone of Genius program is very similar to that, but it's all about the business. We will realign your vision. If you started your business with an idea, a vision, and then you grew it, but somehow that got lost, maybe you feel disconnected from it or the company altogether feels lost, let's work together. We're going to realign that vision. We're going to bring it back to you so you can see it, so it's fulfilling, so it's inspiring. And then we're going to align the mindset of the business. That's the core values. We're going to make sure your core values align anybody that works there in the right mindset to move towards your vision. Then from the top to the bottom, we're going to make sure every single employee, their job description, their work roles, the duties, all of that are in alignment to moving your company to that vision. If you're interested in working with me in any one of these coaching programs or you just want to know more, you can reach out to me via Instagram or there's a link down below. If you fill that out, I will reach out to you directly. And if you just enjoyed this show and you want more content, check out my other podcast, Unlock Your Abundance. It's very similar to this. There's new episodes that come out weekdays at the very same time, but it's all about unlocking your abundance so you can expand into the life that you desire. Well, thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, and I can't wait to talk to you next time.